What's up, y'all? My name is T. Shaw, and this is Brewing Black Podcast, where the contents we serve you is authentic, vulnerable, and relatable. That means we serve you with no cream and no sugar.
I guess I like my coffee black.
What's up, y'all? This is Scholar P, pronouns he, him, his.
And this your boy T Shaw, pronouns he, him, his.
And welcome to Brewing Black, your favorite topical podcast for those who like their subjects, like we like our combos, black.
And let's do our land acknowledgements before we hop into the show. This is the land of the Gabrielino and the Tongva. This is stolen land. This is colonized land. And we will always, always, always pay those respects. So today our topic will be really thinking about what is the problem with using mainstream accomplishments to measure success. And we will be looking at the debate that was sparked over social media about Kiki Palmer versus Zendaya and colorism. But yeah, Scholar P, you have any initial thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. So for those who don't know, people were saying that Kiki should be as well known as Zendaya, and she's not because of colorism. And I gotta give Kiki her props because Kiki heard all this noise and she said a great example of colorism is to believe I can be compared to anyone. She went on to say that she's the youngest talk show host ever, Bow, the first black woman to star in her own show on Nickelodeon, Bow, the youngest first black Cinderella on Broadway, and right now she's in a #1 film, Dope, and she carried that film, superstar of that film. She has over 100 credits, and I think that for me, we've always known who Kiki was.
Absolutely.
Kiki's always been great in our eyes. Kiki, and you were telling me this earlier, T, she is the one who can come to the cookout, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And not to say that Zendaya can't come to the cookout, but like, Kiki's always been a legend in ours because we grew up with her, you know what I mean?
My mama could recognize Kiki Palmer. Like, my grandma would recognize Kiki Palmer. Like, they know her. Like, Zendaya is new on the scene and like Euphoria is amazing, right? But it's like Akilah and the Bee went double platinum in the black community. One of my favorite movies growing up was The Long Shots, and that was when Kiki Palmer was like the woman quarterback, and it was like, oh shit, like it just really changed my mind about like what a quarterback could be and like women having a place in at least like little league football, and it's like. So to say that, to even be able to compare them to me is wild because Zendaya is new on the scene and she has, I guess, some Marvel credits on her. She got an Emmy from Euphoria and she's having a great career, but like in the sense that like Kiki is our cousin. Zendaya new on the block and we love her too and we riding for her because we rooting for everybody black, but the comparison is wild to me. Yeah. Like True Jackson VP, like that's some stuff that we grew up on.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. And not to say, and it's like Zendaya, I think Zendaya was like a Disney star too. So,
oh yeah, that's true.
She's been doing her thing for a second too, but in terms of 100, like
Kiki been in the
Kiki's been
she was on
out
Barbershop.
There. Right. Kiki's been out there since forever, right? And I think that one of the biggest things for me is the way in which these awards can change someone's trajectory. And what I was thinking about, T, is that with Emmys, Grammys, Oscars, Academy Awards, a lot of these, and you correct me if I'm wrong, the audience, y'all correct me, be in the comments if I'm wrong, but a lot of the times it's not like we see the people, the faces, know the credentials of the people who are actually ultimately making these decisions.
That's facts.
A lot of the time, the culture isn't necessarily celebrated. Even outside of like the acting stuff, like Adele will tell you she didn't have the album of the year when Lemonade came out.
Macklemore too.
Right. He'll tell you that.
Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah. And so my thing is this. If we can't change the credentials of the people who are, or even know who the hell they are, who are making these awards and giving these prestigious awards out, then we got to make a call to the casting directors, producers who are looking at these things and saying, oh, well, you got an Emmy and you got 20 Emmys versus 20 NAACP awards. So obviously the Emmys are more valuable, right? And I think we have to think about it on a big level because it's like if you got 20 NAACP awards, this is the NAACP.
Yeah, on me.
Been fighting for human rights since forever, and so now it's like, okay, let's see how we can start valuing that. And if you are a black artist, artist of color, you have to make a stand and say, hey, look, I want to be on projects with people who are being acknowledged for their talents and for awards that aren't just the mainstream ones. If I see you got acting chops and you've won awards that might not be the grandest, but I know that you can act, I know you can sing, I know you can dance, you need to be on this film, and we need to advocate for that, because we have to take the stigma off of these awards, because a lot of times, you know, the culture tells you by its outrage or its celebration whether you really deserve that award. Or not whether you deserve that award, but whether the majority of society feels like you were the one who gave the best performance.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that you said that, because it's like, I don't know who votes on these Academy Awards, right? Like, I don't know who's in the Academy, and whoever is in the Academy, if we understand that like this system is built on like a white gaze and like privileging like what white people think because they own these systems and these institutions, then we know that only a few of us have ever broken into it. Like the fact that Will Smith won his first Oscar in 2022 and he had to slap a black man on TV like on the same day. Like, to me, that's wild. So if we know that these systems and these institutions have excluded us, like, why don't we have any more value to BET Awards? Like, why don't like Jay-Z and Beyonce show up to the BET Awards all the time?
Right.
Like, are we saying that black awards don't matter as much? Yes, that's exactly what people are saying. Right. But like, my question is why? Like, audience, I want to know why you think that. Like, because there is no real reason other than that's what we've been told to believe.
Exactly. And I think shout out to my homie Kiana. She's actually doing a study on like HBCUs and how they're compared to these white institutions, because someone might say, "Oh, I got into Howard," but I've been in a group of hundreds of black people and they thought the H on the shirt that I have was Howard. And then when I said Harvard, crowd went crazy, which I guess is cool, but it's like, but why? We know that the culture ain't the same at Harvard like it is at Howard. Howard keep it jumping. Morehouse Spelman keep it jumping. Hampton, the Aggies, everyone keeps it jumping from a cultural standpoint. But we've been taught, because of how the rest of the world perceives it, and what you can get when you say you get to a Harvard or you got the Emmy or the Academy Award instead of the BET Award. Like, we see where that can get you, and so now. I don't know if I can change the racist casting director's mind, but if I'm, let's say, Will Smith, and I say, hey, look, none of these people have BET Awards, NAACP Awards, all of them have Emmys, but like, I think these people can act, and y'all aren't giving them a shot. Why is that? And you know what? Until y'all give them a chance, I don't want to have anything to do with you. And I think that we do have that type of power.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, because the industry, almost all industries run off of black talent.
Right.
So we do have that power. I think it's being able to wield it. But I love that you brought up HBCUs, because even within me, it's like some things I have to challenge. Today in the training, one of my coworkers talked about how one of his students had these long list of schools that he wanted to go to, and none of them had HBCUs. And then when he came back with his list after kind of going through the class, he had a bunch of HBCUs on his list. And he had took off a bunch, but he only had UCLA and he had a few UCs. But in my head, I was like, shit, Berkeley, a good ass school. You know what I mean? But it's like, I think the student might have chose to go to like maybe Norfolk State or another HBCU. And it's like, I understand that like Howard has some prestige, Morehouse has some prestige, maybe even Hampton. But after we get outside of like these few like seen as top HBCUs, then we see, I'm gonna speak from my own personal like perspective, is that like the academic rigor, maybe not, I don't respect it as much. And I wanted to know in that moment, like, why do I think this? Right? Like, I don't know how I view HBCUs completely. I don't know much about them. I didn't go to a HBCU, but I know that it is for the culture. And I know that like some students really do grow and learn and like become amazing, and they really get shots. Cause I know that those are the schools that give our students a shot, even if they had a 2.3 or a 2.4, right? But I think this because you have to have a 3.8 to get into UCLA. You got to get a 3.9 to get into Berkeley. You got to have a 4.7 to get into Berkeley. You know what I mean? It's elite because it's so exclusive. But does that really make it the best? You know what I mean? And I think that's almost how the Academy Awards work, right? It's just exclusive. everybody wants to get in the club. So if you get in the club, then you're one of the best. But like, was it really the best, or is it just like our imagination that make it so great, and the resources get poured into that?
And yes, that's the key word, resources, right? Because just like the person who got that 3.8 that got them into a Harvard, UCLA, or Berkeley, think about the schools they went to. Think about the tutors they had. Think about the guardians that they had, right? Just like even with the Emmys, the Grammys. If I'm coming up and let's say my mother manages me and she doesn't have the connections within the industry to like schmooze and suck up to the people who are in the Academy or the Emmys or the Oscars or the Grammys. Of course, even if I kill things, my relationships aren't as privileged, right? And then what happens is that we mistake the talent for the privileged connections, right? And so, and I think that's where it gets tricky and dicey. So, you know, if I could leave something with anybody, it's that we have to start valuing our own stuff. We can't treat it like, oh, BET, NAACP, all these other Black award shows, they were our come up. And now I'm going to go to the Grammys every year because everybody else respects the Grammys. But, you know, maybe every 10 years I'll go back to the BET Awards. Yeah. Now, like those are just as awesome. And matter of fact, when I'm in front of Black people, I feel like I got to bring it even more, to be honest. It's a different level for me. Because we gonna flame you a little bit more.
Up, boy, like... So yeah, I really like what you said. It's like finding value in our own things, but also like not waiting to have external validation from these mainstream sources. Like Zora Neale Hurston, which is one of the greatest authors of our time and of history, didn't get any type of acclaim until she died. She received all of her like awards posthumously. I think that's the word. Like after she died. Yeah. So sometimes we won't even see our roses. So I think it's important that we give each other our roses, right?
Exactly.
But I think it's like we can't measure our success and our talent and our worth off of these exclusive and often racist awards and accomplishments. Absolutely. So yeah, value each other, value our own awards, our own shit. Like, I don't know. I don't even know the word, but it's like I knew that we valued Kiki Palmer before that tweet came out.
Yeah, and just one more thing too, real quick. SZA finally got that Grammy, but there was a year where she was supposed to get at least 2 to 3.
Absolutely.
And they snubbed the hell out of her.
Absolutely.
And I'm still mad about that. And I told her when I saw her randomly on the street, I was...
You seen SZA?
Oh, yeah. Fairfax. I didn't say it loud enough for her to hear, but I was like, they really snubbed this woman. Like, because the culture told her, Control won.
Yeah, she won.
She won. And that still upsets me. But I agree, man. We got to appreciate what we have. And for the culture, for those who don't have the power to like change what a casting director does, make sure you tear everything to pieces when any mainstream or award show doesn't celebrate who you already told the world won an award or whatever. So
absolutely. So as we close out, you know, we got to say, keep the coffee black. All right, peace, and we'll see y'all soon.